Welcome back to The Now Mom. I'm Rachel Bennett. Today, I've had a lot of requests in our homeschool routine. I've had lots of interaction and comments on other videos, and I am loving it. That you guys are really loving the classroom setup, our homeschool routine, a lot of our homeschool questions. And this is a question that came up multiple times: how we homeschool multiple children of different ages, obviously different school levels, education levels, and how that works out. Today I thought it would be great to show you all of our curriculum. We're going to do a curriculum haul, show you everything that we use, as well as how we educate our kids with all the different levels and different ages. Let's get started. A little bit about our schedule. We like to start our day with scripture and religion. We are very religious, and so our church has come out with a program called Come Follow Me, which is awesome, and each year they do a different set of scriptures. So last year we were studying the New Testament, and this year we're studying our own scripture, which is the Book of Mormon. They've set it up in a way where it has each week outlined, and then what scriptures you're going to be reading. It has group study as well as personal study. So this one, which is awesome, I love a little bit of gospel study and scripture study. We begin as a family, we do a little scripture study, and my older children, Shay, Raquel, and Clay, will do what we call seminary, and they will do the deep study of the entire week in our Come Follow Me pamphlet. So again, we have like a group study as a family, and then they actually have this as part of their own curriculum that they do on their own time for their own scripture study. And they go deeper into the scriptures, which is awesome. All right, then we go on to our individual study. So we start our day with scripture, and that is a whole group thing, and then everybody comes together here. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Everybody comes together and they have all of their school, which we're gonna show you. And we do a powwow. So if you saw our routine before, this is what we do every morning. We do a powwow. We say, okay, what is everyone doing today? What's on their schedule? Because we already outlined their entire schedule for the year in their planners. So they know where they're supposed to be and their goals each week and each month. And then they say, oh, I think I can be done by this time, this time, this time. And so we start our day with their individual levels, whether it's language arts or math or science or whatever it is. So let's go into the individual curriculum. Here we have Cora. Show me what you're doing. What's your first subject that you start with? All right, we start with math, and this is from The Good and the Beautiful. I have talked about The Good and Beautiful a lot. Again, it is a really good transition curriculum where if you are transitioning from public school to homeschool, it's laid out really well. It tells you how many lessons there are for the entire year. It helps you easily teach your children because it will be blue is something that you read to yourself, like the parent, and then black is what you read to the children. And then as they get older, they will just read to themselves what assignments they do. So I absolutely love The Good and the Beautiful. Let me just show you a little bit about her lesson. Really easy. She does a review, which keeps her up with everything that's going on. We do the lesson, what it asks for, all the supplies she needs. We tell a story, a short story. Then it gets into her subject. This is marble manipulatives, and then she does an activity, maybe another activity, and that is her lesson for math for the day. How long does it take you to do your math usually?
It'd be probably 30 minutes.
Okay, so Cora gets one lesson done of math a day, and that's about 30 minutes, but sometimes Cora's great and she likes to get ahead, and she'll do 2 lessons a day, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, what's next on your list?
Handwriting.
So Cora has handwriting. This again is from The Good and the Beautiful, but we also do handwriting from another company, and it's called Handwriting Without Tears, and we'll show you as the other kids have that. We do probably 3 workbooks of handwriting a year. We have them review, then we go into something that is their level, and at the end of the year, they usually start something that should be the next level. I'm really big on handwriting. I really feel like it is an art, and I love handwriting, especially cursive. So I'll show you as some of the other kids have cursive. All right, Cora, what's your next subject?
Language arts.
Okay, this is language arts, again from The Good and the Beautiful. This is something that does a lot more hands-on with mom. So I sit down and I have Cora on one side, usually Wyatt and Evie near me, and we do the lesson. So blue is what tells the parent to do, and then black is what we read to the kids, and then they have check marks to make sure that we're doing everything for her and she's not just jumping ahead. And this one usually takes a little bit longer. How long does it take you to do your language arts?
Sometimes it's like the same 30 minutes.
Or an hour. This one's a little bit longer. I think it's an hour. All right, so if she sticks with it, she can get all of her stuff done in under 2 hours. But again, we do one group thing at the beginning, then they go and do individual. So while she's doing that, Other kids are doing their own stuff. Let's move on. Shay is my studious child, and he probably has the most subjects because he wants them. All right, so let's start out with what do you have here?
So first I have animation. I did it all last week, or last year. And
Where do you use for animation?
Khan Academy.
We have a bunch of online places and they're free. Khan Academy is great. So he keeps his own notebook. He follows along with a lesson on that one. Okay, here's his science. And
my science book from the library.
so Shay reads a subject in science. He kind of dives in and then he takes notes. We do science experiments once. Well, we're supposed to be doing it once a week, but probably won't start it until next week. We also do a lot of science from the good and the beautiful, and their curriculum is laid out. So Shay might be starting beginning chemistry, or because he wants to study the cosmos, but his science hasn't arrived for that. So that one will have to be next semester. Okay, so Shay does Life of Fred for math, and it's awesome. It goes all the way from elementary all the way into like high school and even like graduating.
It's really easy because it's just fractions.
He's in fractions and he'll go to algebra after this.
Yeah. And then
He's got his planner that he keeps it all organized.
cursive.
Okay, this is the cursive I was talking about. This is handwriting without tears. So here he is practicing. He's been doing cursive for a couple years now. And he's getting better. His cursive is getting better. So I read a study that cursive really helps your creative side. So if you're into a lot of arts, even science, it will help with a lot of that. So cursive is great. Okay, so then his language arts is from the good and the beautiful. He's on, he's finishing up level 7 and he'll move into the high school, or the middle school actually, this year. But it's pretty extensive when you get to the older ages. It's really good because every day it jumps back from a story, then it goes to all the little grammar, goes to reading, it goes to dictation, you practicing like geography. How long does it take you to do most of your school, Shay?
All of it?
Yeah.
I would say 3 hours.
3 to 4 hours?
Yeah.
So some days a little longer, some days shorter, because I don't think you do animation every day.
No. Friday is the shortest because all I have is 2 chapters of this and 1 page of that, so I can get
So he
that done in
has
about
2 language arts lessons and 1 handwriting
45
lesson.
minutes.
So he can do that pretty
This
short.
is really long. This is the thing I hate, but everything else is really fun.
So this whole stack here only takes him about 3 hours, sometimes 4 if it's a longer day. Do you do anything else on the computer? You were just doing something on your phone.
Oh, I also do Duolingo.
So he is learning what language?
German.
He's learning German, and he does that on Duolingo. Okay, all right. Moving on to the 10th grader. Tell me your curriculum.
So I have my planner,
Keep it all organized.
my business,
Okay, show me your business.
foundations in personal finance. So this is like the Dave Ramsey.
And how does that work? Do you watch a show? Do you watch a little video?
So they have videos and they have an online site and it goes through everything, including with the book. And so you read along with the book and on there. And the video helps you to understand other points of it.
This year, I recently put Clay and Raquel in the Dave Ramsey Personal Finance because I find that it is really essential to be teaching our children life skills. And of course, finance is a big one. So I found Dave Ramsey, and this one, even though Raquel's in 10th grade, is for middle school. I do think that if you're gonna do this one, they might be a little bit older middle school, go for like 9th grade because, or 8th or 9th grade, because it's kind of intense, a lot of details, a lot of information, but it's really good to learn it now so that they're ready when they leave the house. What else is your curriculum?
Then we have My Come Follow Me, and it's very colorful.
So this is her workbook. She talked about scriptures. Like I said, Shay, Raquel, and Clay have this scripture, like the personal scripture study. I like how she does this. So she writes it in one color, the question, and then she writes it in a different color, her answer. So I know like that she's answering all the questions and she dates it. This is perfect.
We have My Math. Ignore the bottom, it used to be used for something else.
Okay. And what Fred are you working on now? So she's in Life of Fred and she is in...
Pre-algebra 1 and biology. It goes through a lot more than just pre-algebra 1 and biology. Then we have my high school unit, which is my language arts.
And that's from Good and the Beautiful.
It's actually my favorite.
Because she's a big reader, and the language arts always comes with like a good reader along with it. Tell me about the books you've been reading in your language arts.
So only one so far. It's called Just David, and it is the saddest, most intense. It makes you really think a lot about the impact you have on others. And I have another one, but that's drawing, and I don't have my book down here.
Oh, that's right. So she does drawing by herself, and this is one of those fun things that she wanted to do, which is great. It inspires her. So all together, how long does it take you to get your school finished?
It can range between 1 hour to 4.
All right, that is Rachel and Shay might have the most extensive amount of schoolwork, and so does Clay. Clay is not here with us today. She's actually traveling, but she took everything with us. She also has the Dave Ramsey, but she has the high school edition. Hers is a little bit more than the middle school. Lots of online lessons as well as the book. She also has her Good and Beautiful High School 2. As a senior, she said that she's actually been spacing it out and she's getting ready to graduate this December. She's gonna finish early this year, which she's really excited to do. She also does Come Follow Me with our scriptures, and that's again put out by our church. And then her last subject is business, and her business we've actually curated for her. Me and my husband, we read a lot of business books. Jace has pulled out a lot of the business books that she can read, a lot of leadership books, business, basic understanding of people, communication, how to run business, and then we give her a book each month, and as she reads it, she writes essays, answers questions, and honestly, it's just kind of like writing down what's applicable for her in her business right now. All right, Wyatt is up. Wyatt, show me what you've got.
So the first thing I always do for every day, I do my language arts, and in like every lesson I have to read this book.
And it has stories in them, right?
Lots of different stories.
Okay, so that's from the Good and the Beautiful, your language arts. Okay, put that to the side.
The next thing I do is math, because that's for every day I have to do.
Wyatt is my math whiz, so he's actually plowing through this math book, and we'll go on to the next level. I bought the next level above him, and he will probably finish 2 books this year. It's a lot of review as well as like going into it, but this one is a different math book than what the other kids use. So the other kids use Life of Fred, or the younger kids, Evie and Cora, do the Good and the Beautiful math. But this one I found was really awesome. I went online and I found a good curriculum. This is Lessons for a Living Education. It's great. It is straightforward. It has really simple, like it has a good review of what's been happening, and then introduces more of the whatever subject is coming up next. It actually doesn't follow Common Core, and I actually like that because I don't like the Common Core way that it follows with math, and so it's actually kind of the way that I learned to do math, which I like, but it also applies in different ways. Like it teaches them different ways to multiply fractions, multiply or divide, or all different types of things. So this is what he's doing, and he does multiple lessons a day, and that's why he's gonna be finishing this a lot early. So,
and then I got my handwriting without tears, and then I do Duolingo on the tablet, and like once a week I do art.
A friend of mine recommended this online art class. It is awesome. It is called Waldorfish. So this first lesson they did is introducing watercolor, and it has a video. Each lesson will come with obviously a list of supplies needed, and then it gives you 1 or 2 videos for each lesson so that you can slowly go along. It teaches you technique, teaches you the verbiage on what to do. So we have this open art class, and whoever would like to attend can attend. They don't have to. I know that Wyatt and Evie have been asking for it all the time, so they love it. And what is great is you pay 1 year curriculum. I think it was $150, but I get that curriculum for everybody in the family. Anyone can watch it, anyone can participate. It gives you all of the things. It even gives you links on what to buy for supplies, like that link to Amazon or other websites, and you can look and see at the supplies that you can buy. So I really like that one. That one's fun. That one's an online one. And a lot of these online courses that we do, like Shay's animation, this Waldorfish, as well as Duolingo, they obviously have to do their core subjects first. So their language arts, their math, reading, any basic science. They have to do those first before we move on to their electives. Evie's been working on her drawing because Evie is a little ahead. She got all of her other subjects done, huh?
Yeah. So today I do language arts, math, and anatomy, and sometimes I do an extra one like Duolingo or soccer or anything like that.
Or art?
Or art.
Okay, so you showed me your language arts. Now what do you use for your math?
I do the Good and Beautiful math. I already finished all my school for today, but for today I was working on rounding because Shay helped me with that.
And how long does it usually take you to do your math and your language arts?
For my language arts, it takes me a like only like 5 minutes because language arts is really easy for me because language arts is really fun for me also.
And how long does it take you to do your math?
Math, it takes me a long time because I don't really like math. And next is just anatomy. This one just teaches me writing, like straight lines and stuff. Like
This is from the Handwriting Without Tears company. I like adding on and building onto like basic core things like the language arts. Evie is a really good reader. She really enjoys her language arts, like you heard. She gets it done in like 10 minutes, really fast. So we have these building writers, which it starts with really basic things like drawing, adding onto like a story, writing a couple paragraphs. This helps with also conversation skills, trying to build on to like what you're trying to say, thinking about like your next subject, your next topic. And then it goes kind of in deeper working on that handwriting as well as like working on that building the writer skills, which is awesome. So this one's called Learning Without Tears. It's from the same company, Handwriting Without Tears. They have a lot of really good curriculum that's not too expensive. I enjoy their handwriting and their learning stuff because it's beautiful, it's nice, as well as the good and the beautiful. A lot of the curriculum I use is specifically curated because I like it to be pretty to look at. Because like they show pictures of nice classical art, they tell these good stories, like the handwriting has lots of things that you can like color so that you can get your imagination and creativity into it and really enjoy learning. And that is like our key focus, is helping the kids learn to love school and learn to love to learn. And tell me why you have the computer. What's your last subject there?
my last subject is Duolingo. I am learning Spanish. Duolingo is fun because it has these stories that you can go onto whenever you want and read the stories, and it's in Spanish or German or whatever you're learning, and it's really fun.
All right, so they go and they do their schoolwork. I give them like a time limit. I say, hey, let's get 1 or 2 subjects done in this hour or these 2 hours, while mom either does work or I prep the next subject. So on Mondays, I do maturation program, and I do that for Wyatt and Evie because Evie is in 5th grade now. So the end of 5th grade is usually when public school will do maturation program. And Wyatt, although he is in 7th grade, I missed it. And so we're doing the maturation program for him. And it's kind of just like a good overall coverage of the maturation, like how our bodies mature, how babies are made, all the things that are involved in that. So we do that on Mondays with Wyatt and Evie, sometimes separately. Then on Fridays, we do human anatomy, and this is for Evie, Wyatt, and Cora. These ones are from The Good and the Beautiful. I love their science. Their curriculums are set out into lessons. It tells you all the supplies are needed for each lesson. It also gives you like these printable, these papers so that you can make a big like bulletin boards so they can visually understand what they're seeing and go through it. And they also have worksheets that they can add to it. I like The Good and the Beautiful Sciences. They have stuff for high school. We have like pre-chemistry, we have energy, we have geology. We have a lot of like sciences that we've purchased and we put on the shelf so that like as they want to learn about it, we can pull it out, we can do it. Okay, and I also use The Good and Beautiful in history, as well as I also use the Libraries of Hope, or the Well-Educated Heart. Her Libraries of Hope cover lots of different subjects, and because we're going to be doing U.S. history this year, I'm using a lot of the Well-Educated Heart Libraries of Hope, it's all one thing, their books to help with all the history, because they have a Freedom series, which is amazing, lots of good stories. So these books, this one's Imagination, this book we use for our nighttime reading, but inside they're not like chronological, so they're actually like you can open up the book whenever you want and you can read a book about that subject. So we have like a lot of freedom books, so we could read a lot about like George Washington, or we can learn about like the wars or the freedoms from other countries, you know, like Asia and Europe and all different types. I like to use it in addition to our Good and Beautiful history. As we're learning about different subjects, we'll say, okay, here's this book. This book is going to go over this subject. I want you guys to read one story in the book. So they can open it up to any chapter, anything, anywhere in the book, and they can read these really good, deep, rich stories. That is really, really fun. I love doing that. And this is how we do the different ages. We're going to bring everyone back together, and I'll show you how we do our history.
She returned with a record player.
Oh, you brought Grandma Frances' record player. Yes, Lucy has been dying
to hear this record.
We listened to an audio recording for our history, and it tells a little story about what's going on in our lesson today, which we're learning about the Olympics as well as like the Persian Wars. And I go through my lesson, and now this is great because the history I've printed off kind of worksheets for each grade, each level. So the older kids have an older assignment, and in here it even just tells you exactly what the older assignment is supposed to do as well as what the younger kids are supposed to be doing. So this is how we do our group lesson. This is our history. So we're covering a lot of, like, we're going from the Greeks, we're going to be going into US history probably in about 4 or 5 lessons. It goes through this part pretty quickly as we get to, discovering America, and then as well as a lot of the US history and civil wars and things like that. So that's what we're gonna be covering all year. And right now, the kids are doing their assignments. This is the lesson that we just did. So it gives you like grade 7 and up, what to do, have the other kids lesson 4 assignments. It even has like a game you can play, read something aloud. There's lots of activities, and then that's it for the lesson. So this one's a little bit shorter, where some of them will have more extensive lessons, and it could be like 45 minutes. But most of our history lessons are averaging about 30 minutes, and we do them about a few times a week. So this is how we do our group history, and then we'll go on to art and science a little bit after their other subjects are done. Now, look at what we're doing. We are assembling our timeline. Now this is the world's timeline, so like it starts from like way BC to like now present day, and they are put in an order for our history lesson, which we are learning about the great philosophers of ancient Greece at the time. So this gets everybody involved and helps them to learn. We're helping them kind of dive in, and obviously, like I showed earlier, with the older ages, they have like high school ages do this, middle school ages do this, and then the older grade school do these, and they all work together in these lessons. All right, at this time, they're gonna be finishing up anything that they need to do for history, and then they're gonna be working on their personal subjects, and then we'll do group art and anatomy or maturation later. But I wanted to give you just a brief glimpse of like all of our curriculum, how we do all the different ages and the different levels and the different grades in our homeschool. It's a little bit different than some other homeschoolers. I know every homeschool curates to their own what their family needs, and that's kind of my advice if you are new to homeschooling. Just remember, like, you do what works for your family. Sometimes multiple subjects can be difficult. Sometimes finding your own curriculum and curating what works for your family can be really hard, and it has taken us a while to figure out what we like, what we don't like. And I like to do group lessons for some subjects. Obviously things like history, science, arts, like languages, extracurricular, those are easier to add and do as a group, whereas individual things like math and language arts, all of that personal reading is definitely an individual level basis. And so those things they do on their own. Everyone's doing their own school at different areas and working on their different subjects. And that's kind of how our day will go. And I'll help kids along the way, and I'll sit down with them and help, Wyatt finish up his language arts. I'll help Cora finish up her math and whatever else is needed. And then they honestly, they end at different times. They get to do, play with their friends and do other things afterwards, all like according to how they get their things done. So I hope you enjoyed a glimpse into our day at teaching different ages, different levels, as well as our curriculum hall. I hope you guys enjoy this. I want you guys to comment down below what you guys think, what subjects you're doing, what you're teaching, what your children are enjoying, and make sure you guys join us over on theohanaventure.com or thenowmom.com so you can see our blog and all of the steps along the way. Okay, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time on The Now Mom. Bye.